A true lyricist setting itself apart from the repetitive art. Rigorous from the start when formulating compelling remarks is crazy. A year ago I never would have thought my rhymer would get me this far. Never leaving my heart ajar for these deceivers. Undercover believers, when you threaten to leave them, they turn into the greatest of grievers. Because they know my potential is monumental. Expressing the fact that my flow is influential on their mental. If given a chance, I'm planning on getting it in. I'm focusing on a dividend, but to make the line between me and my dreams hella thin. Women undressing cause I'm a clever use of a synonym. Talking that sweet hoping that I'm feeling them, in more ways than one. She hates it when I go because of the way I make her come. Was never the type to down the dash, but I just killed her, so I gotta run. 5-0, taking advantage of innocent people and the rest of her fun. Now I'm back on my grind, my mind is highly elevated, metaphorically sedated. So many people say that with my talent I might never make it. The chance I'm gonna take it, defeat up, I never face it. When I gun on my drive, nobody will ever break it. Elaborate concepts defined by my context, considered to be complex. Progressing in my art, but again wonders who will shine next. I go straight, forcing you other rappers' angles to go convex. First time I started rapping, it was about 15, 16 years old, because the first time I actually started listening to hip hop was around that time, and first album I actually listened to was T.I. Urban Legend, and I just took off from there and just been doing my thing ever since. Unique because everybody can't do it. Anybody can rhyme like you, Dr. Seuss and stuff, but everyone can't do it to the level of putting metaphors and double entendres and all that. And I've rapped in front of people before, and I see how their faces just light up like smiling, because first of all they don't expect me to be able to do that and stuff, and it's just like a pleasant surprise. So it's in my opinion, it makes me feel really unique, and makes me feel like I stand out.
Well, my first time actually playing a musical instrument would be in elementary. 3rd grade or so, my grandma bought me a drum set, and I was like, cool, I get to play drums, and it was fun, and I get to learn new music and new kinds of music. So that was actually my first experience with instruments and music. So I then became a 5th grader a couple years later and played the violins and strings, so I got interested in that, so I kind of diversified I get a lot of joy out of it. It does take a lot of time and practice, but at the end of the day, you'll feel accomplished by playing the piece and getting it right.
I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you. Oh, my soul rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you hear. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear.
When it comes to singing, there's more than one style of singing. Some people can say, hey, could you sing this song by Chris Brown? Hey, could you sing this song by Luther Vandross? Hey, could you sing this song by Anthony Hamilton? It's totally different voices. There's, you have a jazz vocalist, you have I feel like a southern gospel, you have a gospel vocalist. You have all types of different singers. I feel like I'm more of inside of the jazz, churchy type of sound. When you hear me, sometimes I even have like a little raspy sound. But it just depends on your ear. Depends on the day for me too. So yeah, I'm more of a jazzy, churchy sound. So yeah. My first time singing was definitely in church. My dad's a pastor, and before he would preach, he would make me and my sister go up and sing. And our first song was Jesus Loves Me. And my grandma used to kind of whoop up on me a little bit when I would play around and act like I didn't want to sing. But I actually appreciate it because now everywhere I go, even at Langston University, I always sing gospel because it's just I just had this feeling when I sing it. It's soothing, it's relaxing, and sometimes when I'm stressing, I sing it and then I just feel better. I don't know why, it's just something about the way the music sounds feels when you just become one with it. It's great.
I play flute and clarinet. I was 8 years old, and ever since then, my mom used to put me in all these different programs. I started at East High School, but I eventually, got into this organization called Colorado Honor Band, and they are some of the best players that you'll ever know. And from there I just grew, and knowing music, it just takes you to another place or another zone that you can't even explain it to an extent.
I first started playing the baritone horn in about late 9th grade. Because at the start, I started off playing snare drum, then I switched to baritone horn, and when I started playing baritone horn, it kind of changed my life because before I wasn't doing that good in my classes. Then when I joined the band in my high school, my band director made sure that I stayed on all of my classwork before I put the band work ahead of that, and he made sure that I had good grades in all of my classes and did the things I needed to do. Music education, so of course I love music. I mean, I love to play any instrument I can get my hands on. Just give me a little while, I can learn it, play something on it, and be effective at it. And one of my favorite instruments is the piano and the baritone horn. Those two are my main instruments, and I just, it's just really an uplifting art. It's not like any other.
Saxophone. My godfather is a minister in the church, Church of God in Christ, and I always grew up watching him play. And I actually had a Fisher Price plastic bubble saxophone, like the kind with little bubbles in. I used to sit next to him in church and pretend that I was playing him. I would blow real hard. That eventually led to me playing the saxophone here at Langston University. In the Langston University March and Pride Band. I was recruited by Albert Jackson. He was the Larry Band back band director. But anyway, I learned a lot of things in the band. I really learned showmanship, and that's my love of music.